Have you ever forgotten something you promised in a meeting to do until next meeting? You're listening to Done. I'm David Stiernholm, and today's episode is about the post-meeting fork that protects you from things you've promised during meetings falling through the cracks. But first, wouldn't it be nice if someone could summarize the long emails you received? I have found a way to make that happen, and I happily share it in a brief video right now on the Struktör blog. Click the link in the show notes to see it. When you've just finished a meeting, do you have a clear and stable routine for handling the notes you took? A few days ago, when I enthusiastically said, "Thank you," and ended a talk on structure for a government agency here in Gothenburg, one of the participants asked, "So, what should I do with these notes I've made?" Given that I just talked about what we should keep in mind to keep track of everything we have to do easily, and that it's important not to spread the same type of information in many places, it was a valid question. So where did the note go? I guess he, like many others, has experienced making notes in a notebook during a meeting, and after the meeting, the notes are left in the notebook, which ends up somewhere. It's so easy for things promised in meetings not to get done because the note about what should be done and by whom and when gets lost among other notes on a page in a notebook, which may even end up in a pile with other notebooks. It's important that you and I, and each and every one of us, of course, have a clear routine for what happens with the notes after the meeting. How do you make it easy for yourself to go from words and promises to action? By the way, it doesn't have to be paper notes. It can just as easily be digital notes, for example in OneNote, where many people keep all their meeting notes. Even if you've created a clear structure in OneNote with neatly organized sections and pages, the meeting notes can still end up on a page, in a section, in a notebook, and everything you agreed upon can still fall through the cracks. The notes after most meetings contain one or more of four things. The first, you take on a task that takes less than a workday to complete. The second, you become involved in or responsible for something big that will take longer than a workday, a new project, a task, a work group that has been formed, or something else significant. The third, someone else takes on a task and you want to keep track of it getting done. And the fourth, something is said or decided that you need to be able to find and check back on at some unspecified time in the future. I imagine this as a fork with four prongs. The meeting is the handle that leads to the four prongs things. If it's clear and easy to know where the information from the four prongs should go after the meeting, you avoid forgetting promises. Do this. Take a moment to think about how you usually do things. Do you know with certainty what you should do after a meeting to ensure that the information from the four prongs ends up where it belongs? If not, think about it a little extra and come up with a plan for what you will do starting today. For instance, how will you add the promises to your to-do list if they take less than a workday to complete? How will you add new projects or other big tasks to your overview of everything big you have going on right now, or the plates you are spinning? How will you note that you're waiting for something from someone on your waiting for list? Where will you save the entire meeting notes so that you can easily find it whenever you need it, even if you don't know when that will be? The best solution for you will depend on, among other things, where you keep your to-do list and which tools you use. These are details we can work on if you take my personal structure help. Personally, I scan my meeting notes into PDF and save them in the folder for the current project, client, supplier, or something similar. I keep my to-do tasks, big tasks, and waiting for notes all in my digital to-do list in Things. Because if you have a well thought out and stable post-meeting fork that works for you, you can take care of the meeting notes quickly after the meetings, saving you time, and you can be sure that nothing will fall through the cracks and get lost. Those who work with you can trust that it will get done if you say you will do something. That's invaluable, if you ask me. So, how have you set it up? What does your post-meeting fork look like? Write to me at david@stiernholm.com and let me know. I always welcome tips and examples of good structure, and I'm curious about what you have come up with. Your email is very welcome. Do you know anyone who could improve their meeting note management? Share this episode of Done with them. you can send it to them and they will get a nudge from you and me in the proper structure direction. Thank you for today, and I'll talk to you again next week.